Hey there guys, what is going on? Floppy here doing another free-to-play Friday video. This time talking about Warframe, a game that has been recommended to me more than probably anything else, and for some reason I just haven't played yet, which I'm now regretting. Warframe's gone through a bunch of big updates recently. Apparently I didn't really play it before, so I'm not really too sure what changed, but it's really cool. It's a third-person shooter slash slasher game. You can be a shooting guy or a melee person, depending how you want to play, I suppose. Has sort of a heavy looting sort of vibe, and it's all this mission-based gameplay, and you sort of have a home base that's the ship that you can upgrade over time, but you zoom into different planets, Earth, Mars, Venus. You zoom into different planets, do missions, there's a whole storyline. And it's kind of neat because it's available on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, which is just kind of neat. I like when games are available across a bunch of platforms. Either way, my first impression of this game was pretty positive. The game felt really good, and it reminded me a lot of Destiny, which was exciting because Destiny 2 just launched. I've been playing an absolute ton of that, but this game was really neat. And I got to play with Sidon. Basically, as soon as I logged on for the first time, Sidon messaged me on Steam and was like, hey, let's play together, so that's what all this footage is with, which was really cool. So yeah, let's just talk about pros and cons of this game, because there are definitely cons to this game, but there's a lot of pros. The first pro is that the gameplay feels really good. It's a pretty fast-paced game. There's a lot of movement mechanics with your character, with dashing and jumping, and there's a lot of movement mechanics, and it's very fast-paced, and that can get pretty bad if games let it. But this game, I mean, it feels and plays pretty well. The gunplay isn't the best I've ever played with, but it's pretty good. I mean, it's definitely passable. The game feels definitely good to play, but I'm amazed at the movement because of all the different movement mechanics that it feels as good as it does. There's a large story focus, which I put as a pro. Some people might see it as a con. But so far, in about the first 3 hours I've played of the game, there's a lot of focus on the story, which is really cool. I haven't been too involved in what the story actually is, but there's definitely a lot to get caught up in. It seems like there's pretty good depth to it, and it seems like it's fairly long, which is kind of cool. The missions have all kinds of different types, and I kind of like them because they remind me of sort of the old Halo missions. You get dropped into a place, you do your mission, and then you're done. You get rewards, there's loot along the way. The mission zones themselves are not enormous, but they feel pretty big, and all of them have sort of, I wouldn't say different paths to do what you're supposed to do, but they have sort of different stuff to find, whether it's loot, different rooms, that sort of stuff. There's enough creatures in them, things to kill, that it doesn't feel like an empty planet. And it's kind of nice. It's kind of cool to do drop-in missions as opposed to just a massive open world, excuse me. So it's nice, you know, dropping in, you know what your mission is, you do it, and you leave. I kind of like that vibe and gameplay. The game looks pretty good. All the gameplay you're seeing is on medium. It was the auto-detected graphics setting for my computer. I saw what it looked like on very high, and it does look pretty good, especially for a free-to-play game. It looks very good. I played on medium because that's what it recommended, and it seemed to be running really well. If you have a better computer, it can run higher. The PlayStation and Xbox versions also look very good. The game looks good. I also like that you can scale down the graphics. I think medium still looks quite good. You know, I wasn't disappointed with how it looks, and I like that you can scale it back and get more frames, so that's kind of cool. There's really deep customization, so you have all kinds of different guns and swords and weapons and bows. You can switch between them, you can customize them. I was looking just at the slots of things I could upgrade on my gun, and I could add like 8 different things to a single weapon. There's all kinds of stuff you can do for customization, and then, you know, it changes how you play. You can have guns, you could be a sniper from afar, you can be an up-close player. So there's a lot of customization how you want to play, as well as looks. You can see Sidon's armor here and there. There's a lot of customization, what you can make your character look like, and being in third person, you see it all the time, so it's kind of cool. A lot of customization, though. And my final pro, it's really easy to hop in with friends. You know, I was doing my first mission, and it was as simple as pressing invite, and we were playing in a party together. We dropped down into missions together. It was really great. It was really easy to play with friends, and it was kind of like rewarding to play with friends. You know, you kind of are killing enemies together, and, you know, from initial him texting me, asking if I want to play, it was under 5 minutes before we were in the game together, so that's really cool. There are some cons with this game. The story mode feels pretty hard to avoid, especially in the beginning, and there's these large pop-up videos. As opposed to doing cutscenes, you kind of just get these large characters appearing on your screen and talking to you sort of while you're in the middle of doing stuff, which is kind of annoying. I guess it's a different version as opposed to a cutscene, but these characters that talk to you pop up a lot, and it felt very just like, alright, can you just either give me a lot of the story at once? Like, these pop-ups are happening a little too frequently. A big con for me was that the tutorial, it was over in about 10 minutes, and I felt like I didn't know anything about the game. Even the mechanics it did teach you, it was very quick. Luckily, within, you know, as soon as I finished the tutorial, I was playing with Side, and he told me all sorts of things that I was like, oh, that they didn't even talk about that. So the tutorial is very minimal, and it kind of sucks because there's a lot of depth to the game, and they almost expect you to sort of learn it on your own. And from what I understand, the Reddit has an amazing pinned thing where it talks through a lot of the different mechanics in the game. It was a very deep game, and there's a lot of customization and different buttons to press, so it kind of just sucks that the tutorial doesn't teach you that. I guess it's just a different style, but I would have liked to have known a bit more of that and not had to learn it, you know, secondary. The menus in this game, to me, felt kind of clunky. To navigate around was very clunky, and it kind of goes with the tutorial thing. Your ship is sort of your hub where you go between missions and where you can upgrade your stuff. And it felt like every mission I had something I could do on my ship, but it never told me what it was or why I was doing it. And it just felt like there was a lot of the games I didn't understand. And the menus themselves, I would be in the machine I was supposed to use, and it made no sense. They felt very clunky, they felt very odd. It was sort of a drawback to the whole deep customization of, I have to figure out how to use this menu before I can even customize anything. So this is a free-to-play game, but there's a lot of stuff you can pay for, and a lot of it's cosmetic, and that's kind of cool, and you can get anything you want without having to pay for it, but from what I understand, I haven't encountered this too much, but putting money into the game allows you to get things a lot faster, and a lot of the people in the player base seem to think that their pay store is a little ridiculous. I don't know too much about it because I haven't played the game that much, but the pay store is apparently a bit of an issue for people who play the game a lot. And the biggest con I ran into, well, that might have been the tutorial issue, but the biggest con I ran into was that the servers were very strange, which I probably wouldn't have noticed too much if I hadn't been playing with Sidon. But we're both NA, and you think we could play together pretty easily. But the servers seem very strange. We tried to jump into a multiplayer match. They have all kinds of multiplayer game modes, and it was just the two of us playing against each other. And then there were certain times where the enemies, the server wasn't registering fast enough, so they didn't react to us shooting them. We rubber banded a bit here and there, so the server seemed a bit iffy. It kind of sucked. Anyway, those are sort of the pros and cons. My final review, my final impressions. This is actually a game I probably want to play more. With the launch of Destiny 2, it kind of scratches the exact same itch. It's a very similar game. I would definitely call this sort of the free-to-play Destiny game. But with Destiny 2 launching, I'm probably not going to play this. But this is a game I definitely want to play again, especially with friends. I think this is a really fun game, very similar to Destiny. If you've never played Destiny, I don't know what other game I would compare it to. But it's really fun. After doing some tinkering, I'll probably want to watch some tutorial videos to learn some of the more mechanics. But it's a fun game. It's a well-made game. There's a lot of the loot grinding, which is something I don't mind in games. There's a lot of loot to grind too. There's a crafting system. I think this is a really well-made game. I think it's a very fun game. And I think it's well worth a download and a try. It's kind of a shame I'm discovering it at the same time as Destiny, because this could have been very fun to play the last few months with no games. Well, I definitely think this is one I'll come back to. So I heavily recommend checking this out at least. It actually plays pretty well with a keyboard and mouse as opposed to a controller. I tried both of them. They both feel pretty good. So either way, that was sort of my free-to-play Friday wrap-up of Warframe. I would recommend checking it out and seeing what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you play Warframe, if you want to check it out, if there's things I should try in it, if there's things to know about it, anything like that in the comments down below. Leave a like on this video and subscribe for more videos, more things, more this, more that, and I will catch you guys next time. Oh, got the hiccups right as I was going to say bye. A ciao.